There's a rule that almost nobody follows. Not because it is complicated, but because it is uncomfortable. And the man in this story broke every promise he ever made to himself, until the day he finally followed it for 90 days straight. What happened after those 90 days will make you question everything you believe about how change actually works. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, what is one thing you've been putting off for more than 90 days? Be honest. I want to see your answer down there. And if stories like this move something in you, hit subscribe now, because this channel exists for people exactly like you. Now, let's begin. His name was Farhan, 29 years old. He worked at a small electronics repair shop, fixing phones and laptops for people who barely looked at him twice. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, for a salary that disappeared before the month even ended. Farhan wasn't lazy. He wasn't stupid. He had ideas, real ones. He had once tried to start a small repair business of his own. He had tried to learn video editing to make extra income online. He had tried waking up early, tried saving money, tried 100 small resets. Every single one of them lasted a few days, maybe a week at most. Then life would interrupt, a late shift, a family problem, exhaustion, and the attempt would quietly die the way most attempts do. Not with a dramatic failure, just a slow, silent fade. He lived with his younger brother in a rented room above a tailor's shop. The walls were thin enough that he could hear every conversation from the street below. At night, after his brother fell asleep, Farhan would lie awake scrolling through videos of people who seemed to have figured life out. People with businesses, with clean apartments, with mornings that looked nothing like his. He didn't feel jealous. He felt something quieter and more dangerous than jealousy. He felt like maybe some people were simply built for a different life, and he wasn't one of them. His father called every Friday. The questions were always the same, wrapped in different words. Beta, how is work? Beta, have you thought about what's next? Farhan always answered the same way. I'm figuring it out, Baba. But 18 months of figuring it out had produced nothing except the same room, the same shop, the same 12-hour days. The truth Farhan couldn't say out loud, not even to himself, was this. He didn't have a discipline problem. He had a completion problem. He could start anything. He had never finished anything that mattered. One humid evening, a customer walked into the repair shop holding a cracked laptop screen. He introduced himself simply as Idris, a man in his late 40s, calm in a way that made the whole shop feel quieter. While Farhan worked on a laptop, Idris sat and watched him with unusual attention. You're fast with your hands, Idris said. How long have you wanted to do something bigger than this shop? Farhan laughed it off. A long time. Doesn't really matter, though. Why not? Because I've tried. More than once. It never sticks. Idris nodded slowly, like he had heard this exact sentence 1,000 times before. Can I tell you why it never stuck? Farhan looked up, more out of politeness than interest. You've been starting things, Idris said. Everyone starts things. Starting is easy. It feels good. It feels hopeful. But you've never given anything the one thing that actually changes a life, which is 90 uninterrupted days. Farhan frowned. I've tried longer than that before. No, Idris said gently. You've tried longer than that on and off. There's a difference between effort spread across a year and 90 days where you do not allow yourself a single excuse. One is a hobby. The other rewires who you are. He picked up a pen and wrote something on the back of a repair receipt before sliding it across the counter. Here's my number. If you actually want to change your life, instead of talking about it, call me tomorrow morning. Not tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning. That will tell me everything I need to know about whether you're serious. Farhan didn't sleep much that night. At 7 a.m., earlier than he'd planned, he called. They met at a tea stall near the market. Idris didn't waste time with small talk. The 90-day rule is simple to explain and brutal to follow, he said. You pick one skill, not 5. One, something that can realistically earn you money within a year if you get good at it. For you, I already know what it should be. What? You fix hardware. But the real money isn't in fixing. It's in teaching people how to fix and in selling refurbished devices online. You already have the hands. You need the skill of presenting and selling what you do. Idris drew 3 simple columns on a napkin. Rule 1, 1 hour, non-negotiable. Every single day, minimum 1 hour, dedicated only to building the skill. Not when I have time. Scheduled, protected, treated like a job interview you cannot miss. Rule 2, no 0 days. You are allowed to have a small day. You're never allowed to have a 0 day. 10 minutes still counts. Nothing does not count. Rule 3, track it publicly, even if only to yourself. Every day you complete the hour, you mark it. A calendar, a notebook, a checklist. 90 marks in a row. If you break the chain, you don't quit. You go back to day one the mindset, even if you don't restart the calendar. 90 days, Idris said. Not because it's magic, because that's roughly how long it takes for a new behavior to stop requiring willpower and start requiring nothing at all. You're not trying to survive 90 days, Farhan. You're trying to become someone for whom this is just normal life. He folded the napkin and handed it over. Day 1 starts tomorrow. I'll check on you in 30 days. If you've quit, don't bother answering my calls. Farhan chose his skill, learning to film, edit, and post short videos showing device repairs and selling refurbished phones online. The first week was miserable. He filmed himself talking and couldn't stand the sound of his own voice. His first 3 videos got 11 views combined. His brother teased him. Customers at the shop asked what he was doing pointing his phone at broken laptops. But he marked the calendar every night. Day 1, Day 2, Day 3. By day 12, something small happened. Not success, just a shift. Editing that used to take him 90 frustrating minutes started taking 40. His hands knew the software the way they knew a screwdriver. By day 20, one of his videos, a simple 60-second clip on how to tell if a laptop battery is dying, passed 2,000 views. It wasn't viral. It wasn't life-changing. But it was proof that strangers were watching. Day 25 was the hardest. His father called, upset about a family expense, and Farhan spent the evening arguing on the phone until nearly midnight. He almost skipped the hour entirely. Instead, exhausted, he opened his laptop and filmed for 11 minutes. Not his best work, but the calendar still got its mark. That 11-minute day, he would later say, mattered more than any of the good days, because it proved the rule wasn't about motivation. It was about showing up regardless of it. Around day 45, Farhan hit what Idris had warned him about, the wall. The early excitement was gone. The results hadn't caught up to the effort yet. His videos were better, but his numbers had barely moved. He sat on the floor of his room one night and genuinely considered stopping. He called Idris, half expecting sympathy. He didn't get any. You're at the exact point where 90% of people quit, Idris said flatly. Not because the rule failed, because this is precisely where the boring middle lives, after the excitement of starting, before any real proof it's working. Everyone who ever built something walked through this exact room. Most people just don't know it has a door on the other side. How do you know there's a door? Because I sat in that same room 20 years ago, selling nothing, doubting everything. 40-something days into a decision I almost reversed. The only difference between the people who make it and the people who don't isn't talent. It's who keeps marking the calendar on the ugly days. Farhan didn't feel inspired. He felt tired, but he opened his laptop anyway. Day 46. Somewhere around day 60, the effort started compounding in ways Farhan hadn't expected. A local electronics store owner saw his videos and asked him to film content for their shop. A small side income, not huge, but real, the first money he had ever earned from anything other than fixing hardware with his hands. By day 75, one video, a 5-minute breakdown comparing refurbished versus new laptops, reached over 80,000 views. Comments started asking where they could buy from him directly. Farhan listed his first 3 refurbished phones online that week. All 3 sold within 4 days. On day 90, Farhan sat in the same tea stall where the rule had first been written on a napkin. Idris was already there. 90 days, Farhan said, sliding his notebook across the table. 90 marks, unbroken, sat in a neat column down the page. Some big, most small, a few embarrassingly short, but every single one of them present. Idris studied it for a long moment. You didn't need talent, he said. You needed proof that you could keep a promise to yourself for 90 days. Now you have that proof. Nobody can take it away from you. Not your father's doubts, not a bad week, not your own excuses. You've already done the hardest thing. Everything after this is just repetition. A year after that napkin, Farhan had turned the small side project into a proper refurbished electronics business, with a growing following watching him repair, review, and sell devices. He still worked hard, harder in some ways than he had at the old shop, but it no longer felt like drowning. It felt like building. He still marks a calendar, not because he has to anymore, but because 90 days taught him that the marking was never really about the calendar. It was about becoming someone who finishes what he starts. His father stopped asking, "Have you figured it out yet?" Now he just asked what's next. Here is what Farhan's story actually proves. It was never about having a better idea than everyone else. It was about giving one idea 90 uninterrupted days instead of scattering effort across 100 half-hearted attempts. So here is the 90-day rule for you right now. 1. Choose a single skill or goal, only one, that could realistically change your income or your life within a year. 2. Give it one protected hour a day, not whenever I find time. Scheduled, non-negotiable. 3. No 0 days. Mark every single day you show up, even if it's just 10 minutes. 4. Expect the wall around day 45. Walk through it anyway. That's where almost everyone else turns back, which is exactly why the people who don't turn back end up somewhere the rest never reach. 90 days from today is a specific date. Go check your calendar right now and find it. That date can either look exactly like today, or it could be the day you look back on as the beginning of everything. If this story means something to you, let me know in the comments what skill you're choosing for your own 90 days. I read every single one, and I'll be checking back in on this video in 3 months to see who actually did it. Like this video if you're starting tomorrow. Subscribe if you want more stories like Farhan's. And I'll see you in the next one.